Yo, what's good? We're back again. Gonna be in for a much shorter video today. Because now we're moving on to the Gen 6 part of the tier list. Which, as you can see from Chespin to Volcanion here, significantly shorter than anything else we've done so far. So, let's just get started, I think. And we're gonna go with Chespin. Chespin gets so much more hate than it deserves, dude. Chespin is awesome. Definitely one of the better grass type starters, first stage at least. I'm a big fan of Chespin. Big fan of Chespin. He's just an awesome little guy. I think Tamer Uniclus and Fracture is fair. Quilladin, however, much like I mentioned with Pignite last time, I think Quilladin just like completely tanks the reputation of the line. Quilladin's awful. I understand why it looks like it does, because it's based on a Glyptodont, which I'll probably have an image of on screen now. I know why it looks like this, but that doesn't mean I like it, especially compared to the first and last stages. No, it definitely is worse than Pignite. Like, they both got like the same problems. They're both so ugly and just awkward looking. They're just not good designs. Chesnaught, however, I think is a good design, and I think people let Quilladin overshadow Chesnaught just way too much. Chesnaught is a pretty good design, I think. I think Chesnaught is pretty damn good. I would rank him pretty high. Probably below Mismagius. Probably below Yanmega. I'm not a big Chesnaught fan or anything, but I do think it's the best Gen 6 starter. For sure. Grass Biting also is a cool type. We don't have very many of those. Actually, no, we do now, don't we? I forgot how many have been introduced here recently. Oh god, okay, not even here recently. Forgot about Virizion, but can you blame me? Fennekin, I think, is a pretty solid first stage starter. Nothing crazy or anything, but I think it's decent. Fennekin is decent. Delphox, I think, is pretty cool. Fire Psychic is a pretty cool type. Again, I think apart from this, it's only Victini and Armarouge. And I think Delphox is probably the weakest out of them all, but I don't think it's bad. I'd probably put it below Cradily. I think Delphox is solid. No. Froakie, definitely the weakest out of the first stage starters. It's not too interesting, to be honest. Probably above Meditite, I guess. Not the biggest Froakie fan as of him to see. Frogadier, I think, is solid. Does a pretty good job of bridging the gap between Froakie and Greninja. Not a huge fan still, but I mean, it's good enough. I think Blowhissy and Quillfish is fine. Now, Greninja. I've got very mixed feelings on Greninja. Because for a long time, Greninja was treated the same as like Lucario and Charizard, and you can see where that's ended them up. But that hasn't really been a thing as of late. Pushing Greninja has not been a thing as of lately, and it's just not as much of an industry plan as it used to be, like Lucario is. It definitely was for a while, and that's kind of soured my reputation on it, especially because Ash Greninja exists, and I gotta say, I'm not a fan when Pokemon in a group, or specifically, very specifically, a starter trio, where one of them gets super special treatment compared to the others. Again, you can see where that's landed Charizard. If they just repurpose Ash Greninja as like a Mega Greninja, I think that would be fine. But as is, I don't know how to feel about the possibility of Greninja getting a Mega in Legend ZA. Especially when it already has Ash Greninja. I'm just not a fan. I hate when they artificially pump up Pokemon's popularity like that. The literal definition of an industry plant. But I gotta say, Greninja is cool. It is cool. Water Dark is a neat enough typing, and Protean is a cool ability for the nerf. I'd probably put him around here somewhere. My opinion on him has definitely gotten better over time, because a few years ago I would have put him down here, but I've mellowed out on him. This will be a different story. But Bunnelby, I think, is a pretty decent Ret 1 rodent. Definitely not on the levels of Zigzagoon, or definitely not Rattata. But I think here, no, definitely above Bidoof. I think above Bidoof. It's fine. Diggersby, one of the 2 ground types introduced in this gen. Diggersby is ugly as sin, but I get that's kind of the point, because it's supposed to be like an old construction worker guy, I think. And Huge Power is a pretty damn cool ability. This thing can actually put in some crazy work. And that gives it a few points in my book. Still not a huge fan, but I think Diggersby is pretty... It's cool. Fletchling. Yeah, don't really care. It's just kind of just a bird. Ducklet. Yeah. Fletchinder. It gets the fire type, which is cool. It becomes a fire flying type. That'll give it a few points. Not much, but a little bit, because it's still a pretty boring design. And Talonflame. Talonflame. The design is cool, the typing is cool, though not very good. The whole arrow aspect is neat, and I think that's cool, but I don't think a lot of people know this. This thing's attack stat is shockingly low. It's like 83 or 81, something between there, somewhere around there, I think. Its attack stat is lower than a Moongus. It's impressively low. Which baffles me, because I could have sworn this thing had like a way higher attack stat than that, like 100 or something like that, but no, this thing is kind of weak, honestly. It's pretty hard carried by Gale Wings. Which is a cool ability, don't get me wrong, Gale Wings is cool. But damn, it was pretty recently that I learned that, by the way, that its attack stat was so low. And honestly, I can't get over it. Every time I see this thing, all I can think about is how low its attack stat is. Yeah. Spewpa. Pretty boring for the regional bug design. First stage, at least. Yeah. I think it's better than Caterpie. It's got a bit more personality, but I think Philippidoo is fine. So I'm not huge on it. Spewpa, I think, is pretty cool. I like the little whatever those are that like fly off of the little coat that it's wearing. I also think it's cool that it's in Smash Bros, so that gives it a few extra points. That's like the literal only notable thing about Spewpa, is that it's in Smash Bros. I mean, I could put it below... above Girder. Above Girder is fine. Vivillon, I think, is pretty cool. I've definitely come around to this thing as of late, because for a while I just completely discounted this thing because I thought its design was kind of boring. But it's grown on me for sure here lately, because it can put in some work. It's got a lot of tools in its kit that it can use. Compound Eyes, Sleep Powder, and Hurricane, Friend Guard, Quiver Dance. This thing can put in some work, and I think that's cool. I think that's pretty cool. Above Masquerain, probably below Scolipede. I think Vivillon's neat. I also do like all the different patterns that they have. Litleo. I mean, we sure needed a fire normal type eventually, right? Yeah, I guess we did. I guess we needed one eventually. And that sure is a lion. So very befitting of the normal type. Pyroars do a bit more better of a job. Yeah. Still not a huge fan though. Flabèbè. It's neat. It's neat. Although Scarlet and Violet, it's very annoying in there because they are so ungodly tiny. They are so disgustingly tiny that it is near impossible to see them in the overworld, and you end up running into them all the time. And that is kind of annoying. I do think it's a neat design though. I think above Primate. Floette. It's not too impressed really. Below Slowking, I mean, it's fine, but Florges. Now, I understand why Flabèbè and Floette are not part grass type, because they're like holding on to the flower, not literally part flower. But this thing is part flower. It has like part of its body is a flower. I don't understand why this thing is not fairy grass type. But other than that, I think it's fine enough. I think it's cool. I think it's got like one of the highest base stat totals of any non-legendary Pokemon, which is neat. But yeah, still not that interesting. Skiddo, however you say this thing, I don't care. I don't care really at all. Gogoat, for the longest time, I thought this thing was a grass normal type, because that was something they really liked doing in Gen 6, just adding the normal type onto various things. But yeah, I don't really care for Gogoat either. It can be fun to use, but even then, it's still not very good. And yeah, it's just kind of a very boring Pokemon. Pancham is neat. Probably a bit higher here. Well, here. Higher than that. I think Pancham is cute. I like the little leaf in its mouth. Its evolution method is actually kind of cool, needing a dark type in your party at like level 32. I do think that's neat. Kind of wish more things did something like that. And then Pangoro is cool, but again, nothing spectacular. Around up here, probably above Gold, not above Entei. Above Entei. Pangoro is neat, but yeah, not super crazy on him. Furfrou, yeah, this is a dog. I know its whole gimmick is just the different hairstyles, but I don't know, even with that, I don't find it very interesting. Probably below Swablu. Espurr sure is something. I know there's like a whole meme with this thing like a while ago, a long time ago, but it's just like blank, expressionless stare. That's about the only notable thing I know about Espurr, so. But I mean, it's cute, so. Below Drifloon. Meowstic. I think Meowstic is cool. I do like when the Pokemon actually have significant changes between gender differences, other than just like a slightly bigger horn or crest or something like that. I like that the male and female Meowstics actually have like different stat distributions and completely different play styles. I feel the male one getting Prankster as a hidden ability and the female one getting Competitive and being the more offensive one. I think that's pretty cool, and I wish they did more Pokemon like that. Probably below Beheum. Meowstic is neat. Honedge. It's a sword. I mean, yeah, compared to the final evolution, Honedge and Doublade are gonna rank kind of low. Because they're really just not that interesting. Below Boldore. Doublade, yeah, I don't. This is one of the times where I think it becoming like one sword to two sword or one gear to two gear or whatever, I really don't think it works with Doublade, especially considering Aegislash doesn't keep with that at all. I don't really know why this is the kind of thing they wanted to go for with this evolution line. But yeah, Doublade's not very good in my opinion. I think below the Lake Spirits. Aegislash, however, is sick as hell. Definitely up here somewhere. Its playstyle is really, really cool. With the different stances and it changing stats every time it uses King Shield. And King Shield as a whole just being a completely broken move. I think Aegislash is really cool. Definitely an Object Mon done right. I think below Swampert is fair. Spritzee and Aromatisse. So I'll start with Spritzee. Spritzee I think is fine. Spritzee is fine. It's nothing like offensively bad. Spritzee is fine. I think above Mana is fair. Aromatisse might be the biggest fumble in the entire series. How do you mess up a Plague Doctor Pokemon this bad? Well, I think the issue is that it's trying to be a million different things at once, and it fails on all of them. It's based on Perfume, it's based on Plague Doctors, it's based on Flamingos, it's based on Can-Can Dancers, and trying to mix all those things together just does not work. It doesn't work at all. This design is horrible. Ugh. Yeah, no. Aromatisse just does not work at all. Swirlix is fine, serviceable. Glow for between Quillfish and Coughing. Slurpuff, actually, design-wise, it's nothing crazy, but I think it's neat. But this thing can actually put in some work with Belly Drum, because its hidden ability is Unburdened, so if you're able to get off Belly Drum and then eat a citrus berry to heal yourself back up some, this thing can go to town, doubling its speed and tripling its attack in one turn. Wild. I think this thing is pretty cool. Probably hiding this above the Lotties. I think Slurpuff is cool. Inkay is very cute. Always been a fan of Inkay. Little Magcargo I think is fine. And then Malamar, I think this is one of the most creative evolution methods in the entire game, the entire series. Because you need to turn your device upside down whenever it reaches like level 32 or something like that. And it's probably the sole reason, well, probably not the sole reason, but it might be a factor for like every Nintendo console having a gyroscope of some kind in them. Like ever since the 3DS, all of them have had one. And I think that's funny, and I think it's cool. And that's not even mentioning that it's just a cool Pokemon in general, even though Dark Psychic is a horrible, horrible type. Malamar having Contrary, again, like I mentioned before, one of my favorite abilities. It's part of why Serperior and Snivy are ranked so high. Because Contrary is just a really, really cool ability. And I think Malamar is just really fun to use. Probably below Sigilif. But yeah, Malamar, big fan of Malamar. Oh boy. Binacle is ugly as sin. Ugly as sin. And unlike some other ugly Pokemon, there's not like any charm here either. It's just ugly. Just ugly. Yeah, this is still too high. Above the genies. And then Barbaracle is not much better. Like, it's higher on here for sure, but still. God, this thing is hideous. Hideous. Below Heatran. Not a fan at all. Skrelp, however, I think is neat. I think above Hisuian Quillfish. I think Skrelp is neat. Dragalge is pretty damn cool. It gets adaptability, which is one of my favorite abilities, like I mentioned with Porygon Z. It was the first Dragon Poison type, which is cool. I think it's cool that it changes type when it evolves, because Skrelp is a Poison Water type, and it losing the Water type and becoming Dragon instead. Very cool, and I kind of wish more Pokemon did stuff like that. Yeah, I think Dragalge is pretty cool. I think below Honchkrow. Clauncher. Not a huge fan, but I think it's neat. Of Clamperl. And then Clawitzer is really cool. Its design is cool, and it has a very, very cool ability with Mega Launcher. I wish they would make more abilities like Mega Launcher that boost a certain type of move. They kind of did with Sharpness too, but I want more. I want more moves, more abilities like that. Clawitzer is sick as hell. I would probably rank it up here, actually. Probably on the lower end. I think below Gyarados, but definitely up there. Clawitzer is very cool and very fun to use. Helioptile. It's kind of boring, honestly. Not a huge fan. Heliolisk is definitely better. I like that it's based on the Basilisk Lizard. The one that has, like, the frills that flare up and everything. Heliolisk is cool, but still, Electric Normal is a choice, and it's not very good. I do like that it has synergy with the sun, being like it's like a solar panel, the little frill. I've always thought that's a pretty cool aspect of the design. And then it gets, what's it called? Solar power. It gets solar power and dry skin and stuff, which I think is neat. Probably at the very top here, I think is where I'd put Heliolisk. Heliolisk is cool, but not huge on it. Tyrunt is pretty damn cool. It's pretty hard to mess up a T-Rex. I think I moved Phanpy there, but I don't remember where he was before. I'll have to fix that later. Tyrunt is cool. Very hard to mess up a T-Rex, and thankfully they didn't. Think about Nidoqueen. And then Tyrantrum is even cooler. Rock Dragon, sick typing. Definitely up here with these other fossils, Armaldo and Archeops. Probably don't like it as much as Anorith. Probably below Durant, but Tyrantrum is very cool. Amora, probably on par with Tyrunt. Oh god, I already forgot where I put it here. So definitely on par with Tyrunt. Feel that's the same towards both of them. I think they're both cool. And Aurorus, not quite as cool as Tyrantrum, but I do think it's still pretty neat. I do think there's kind of a big fumble here, though. Not design-wise. Design-wise, this thing is awesome. The Aurora Borealis on its frill. What's the word for it? It's based on the Amargasaurus, I believe, which had something or like a sail. A sail. That's what it is. It's a sail. The Aurora sail is very cool. But it's kind of wild to me that this thing doesn't get access to Aurora Veil. Like, how? How do you not give the Aurora Pokemon Aurora Veil? That is... I've never understood why they did that, but... You know... I would say it's for balance reasons. This also gets Snow Warning, but then they also made Alolan Ninetales in the next generation that did the same thing. Yeah, that's wild that it does not get Aurora Veil. Sylveon. I've been very kind to the evolution so far. I think the lowest ranking one's like Umbreon, but that's just because it's very annoying to fight. Sylveon, I've probably mentioned this before. Fairy is by far my least favorite type in the game, and Sylveon is like the poster child of that type, which docks points. Sylveon is also treated... Sylveon is to the evolutions what Lucario and Charizard are to the rest of the series. In that it gets a bunch of special preferential treatment over all the other ones, especially stuff like Glaceon or Espeon. I never see anything to do with those Pokemon. It's always Sylveon being pushed in marketing and everything, and not a fan of it. Not a fan of it at all. I think it's, quite frankly, kind of annoying. Oh god, it's not below. I think I'd put it at the top of this tier. Not a fan of Sylveon remotely. Hawlucha is very cool. I think this was the first fighting and flying type. So that definitely gives it some points. And Flying Press is a pretty cool move, even if it's not all that good. Being simultaneously a fighting and a flying type move. I wish they'd do more stuff like that, because that's pretty cool. I'm a fan. I'm a fan of Hawlucha. I think the little Ferrothorn. Dedenne. Definitely one of the weaker Pikachu clones. Electric Fairy's like a neat enough typing. But, yeah. It's not very good. This thing's stats are atrocious. Yeah, probably down here. Of Centret. Carbink. Most other Pokemon like this, like single stage kind of forgettable Pokemon, I wouldn't care much about. But Carbink was actually my very first shiny that I ever found in the series, and that's kind of got a soft spot for that. Found it in Sun and Moon in one of the cave areas. I don't even know if I knew for sure that it was shiny, because it doesn't change that much, but I caught it just to be sure, and lo and behold, it was. And now I brought it up to Scarlet and Violet, still have it to this day. Yeah, I'm a fan of Carbink. Mostly just for that, but yeah, because it's not all that good or really fun to use in battle at all. It's just hard carried by that little story. Gumi is a very, very good first stage for a pseudo-legendary. Gumi is awesome, and I don't know how anyone can hate Gumi, to be honest. If you hate Gumi, you probably have no heart. Gumi is awesome. Sliggoo, not so much. It's not bad, but not particularly interesting either. Around here somewhere, probably. I think below Fennekin. Like, Sliggoo is decent, but nothing crazy. Hisuian Sliggoo, I think, is a pretty big upgrade, honestly. Mostly carried by the little animations that it has in Legends Arceus. It really gives it a lot of personality, and I love the way it rolls around and everything. I think Hisuian Sliggoo is pretty damn cool. I think giving it a shell was definitely a very good call. Because Goodra, the whole line is based on snails, or I guess more slugs than anything, because they don't have shells. Well, the Hisuian versions have shells, but yeah, very good call to give them shells. and I think it works very well for the design. Very, very big improvement. Base Goodra, regular old Goodra. Oh, probably the weakest pseudo legendary, and not even just like battle wise, because it definitely is battle wise the weakest. Maybe not design wise. I think there's another one that I like less, but it's like second worst still. Yeah, I'm not huge on Goodra. Like, it's not particularly fun to use either. It needs like some form of recovery. It needs recover, it needs I don't know, water absorb, regenerator. It needs something to make it good. And fun to use, notably. Most importantly, fun to use. Goodra is just not either of those things, good or fun to use. The Hisuian Goodra, it's such a big improvement. Huge improvement. Dragon Steel, cool type, better design in my opinion. Much, much better battle-wise too. The Hisuian Goodra is a very, very solid improvement over regular Goodra. Probably below Girafarig, between Girafarig and Sudowoodo. I think Hisuian Goodra is awesome. And again, its animations in Legends Arceus also definitely give it a few points. I like that it kind of retreats back and hides in its shell whenever it goes to sleep in that game. When it's just like resting. Very cool. Very, very cool. I'm a big, big fan of Hisuian Goodra. Klefki. I kind of respect how on the nose they are with this thing. Like, it's just a key ring with keys on it. But it's kind of funny that they just... I wouldn't say they gave up with this thing, but it's funny how... I don't know how to describe it. It's funny how just crazy this design is. It has Prankster, which is cool. My favorite ability. But other than that, not a huge fan. Okay, Phantom. Pretty big fan of Phantom's design. Another like Yamask, it's another one of those top 10 creepy Pokédex entries because it's like a dead lost child who died in the woods and then became a Pokemon. Yeah, I don't know why anyone would ever want to live in the Pokemon world when stuff like this just happens. This is just a commonly accepted thing that there's Pokemon that are dead children. Yeah, that's certainly something. I think it's a cool design, and Ghost Grass is very, very cool typing. Think Blazorwa. I like Phantom. And then Trevenant, also pretty cool. Pretty damn cool design. Kind of fun to use too. Harvest is a neat ability, even if it can get kind of annoying. But I think it's solid. Trevenant is solid. Pumpkaboo, I think Pumpkaboo is a very, very underrated Pokemon. Like, this is just Halloween, the Pokemon. It's a pumpkin, a jack-o'-lantern, obviously. That's the big thing. But the little black part of the design here is shaped like a bat, and it's got, like, cat ears, like a black cat. It's just... And then it's shiny. Oh, dude, it and Gourgeist shinies are perfect. Perfect. I'm a big Pumpkaboo fan. Also, of course, it's a pumpkin, and pumpkins are awesome. And then Gourgeist, probably a little bit below Pumpkaboo, but I think it's still very solid. I've always been confused why this thing is a physical attacker. I feel like this thing just looks like a special attacker, and it looks like it should have higher stats, preferably. Also, it's very, very unfortunate with the abilities that it gets, because they're like all three completely useless. Yeah. I think they kind of fumbled Gourgeist a little bit. Not design-wise. Design-wise, I think it's fine. But, like, actual, like, viability and battle-wise, It's not great. Bergmite. I don't care. To the Magneton. Avalugg sucks. Sucks so bad. This is a atrocious Pokemon. Just no redeeming factors, honestly. The design is kind of lame and awkward, and it's not good in battle either. Not a fan. Hisuian Avalugg. Oh my god, I mentioned it with Aromatisse earlier that might be the most fumbled Pokemon. But Avalugg might be worse. Hisuian Avalugg might be worse. How this thing, it barely changes. Like it gets like a little rocky texture underneath, and it gets a weird shovel thing in front of its mouth. I feel like there's so many cooler things you could have done to represent it being a rock type and to make it distinguishable from base Avalugg. Like how cool would it be if it had like a little mini mountain on its back? Like, in Legends Arceus, it was gigantic. That would have been awesome to see it rise out of the ground, just a mountain start moving. And it would be a good juxtaposition to base Avalugg. It would convey the rock type a lot better. It's just such big missed opportunity. I think definitely the worst thing to come out of Legends Arceus. Not a huge fan at all. Noibat is cute. Noibat's cute, but it's not all that interesting. Probably here. I don't know, higher than that. I like Noibat, but I mean, compared to Noivern, which is very, very cool, Noibat just doesn't really do much for me. Noivern is pretty cool. I'd probably put it around here somewhere. Better than Halicia for sure. I think above Blastoise is fine. I think Noivern is pretty cool, being a wyvern, wyvern, bat thing. And the speaker design too, and it's shiny. Oh, very good, very good. I just wish it didn't evolve at level, like, what, 48? And guess how long it takes Noibat to evolve? That's insane. Noivern isn't that good. Oh, we're on to the legendaries already. Xerneas. I'm a big fan of when Pokemon are balanced. When they're not completely and utterly broken, like Xerneas is. Gotta say. Gotta say. Yveltal does a much better job at conveying the whole Y aspect of the design, since they're from X and Y, than Xerneas does with X. Just not very X-shaped at all, really. It's more of a Y than anything else with the, like, you know, well, yeah. Yveltal is cool. Much cooler than Xerneas. And much more balanced, too, notably. I think Noivern, or not Noivern, still Noivern, Yveltal, probably around here. Oh god, why is Pidgey up here still? I gotta fix that at the end. Above Vigoroth. Yveltal's cool, but still not a huge fan. Okay, Zygarde. Zygarde's probably the highest ranking legendary so far. Actually, yeah, no, not even probably, it definitely is. Like, Zygarde's whole concept is just so cool. Having different forms depending on the amount of cells you've collected. Its design is cool, its origins are cool, its color scheme's cool, dude. Zygarde is just awesome. Honestly, I forget a lot that there was a solid period of time where it was just this version of Zygarde with no other forms or anything. Which is crazy, because base Zygarde, like this specific form of Zygarde, isn't really all that good, but man, with everything that it has going for it, it's just so cool. And that's all without even having its own game, that it's really cool, with having like barely any relevance to what happens in the games. I do think what lore is there is cool, being like the thing that balances out life and death and making sure nothing takes precedent over the other, just like to balance the ecosystem, basically. I find that really, really cool. I'm a big fan of Zygarde, and I'm very excited to see what they do with it in Legends ZA. Diancie? Diancie has cool lore, but mainly just being like a mutated Carbink, that's like its whole thing. I don't really care too much about it. What was Zip Striker? Actually, no, pretty higher than that. For seeing Cool Fish. I think Diancie's decent. It's a decent Pokemon. Hoopa, I think, is very cool. Definitely one of the better mythicals. I like its whole shtick with being able to like transport things around with the hoops. Mainly in Omega Ruby Alpha Sapphire. I think that's where it really works the best, because it's, you know, actually present in the games. I do like that. Its whole concept is just really cool. Probably Nidoking. Definitely one of the better mythicals. Probably about the Eradicates. Yeah. So I'm sad though, because I've never really had a chance for Hoopa or the rest of the Gen 4 mythicals. I've never really had a chance to get one. All the giveaways and stuff happened before I got into the series, and there haven't been any since then. I'm hoping and praying that we'll be able to get them in Legends ZA like we were with the Gen 4 mythicals. Because I think they're a solid bunch. And later, last but not least, Volcanion. I mean, it's like a whole thing. The entire thing that will give it any points is its typing, because it's a water fire type, which is still unique to this day, which kind of makes me mad, because there's no way to get this thing anymore. It's like its design is kind of off-putting. It's got like the same kind of face as the Swords of Justice do, where it's very human-like on a not human head. I don't know how to describe it, if that sounds right, but it just looks off. Yeah, it's hard carried by just the unique typing, and again, it's got like no relevance to anything ever. Not very cool lore either, like Diancie has, so yeah, it's not great. I'd probably put it over Zekrom though. I think Zekrom the champ. And that'll do it for the main tier list. So now we can do the miscellaneous forms, starting with Ash Greninja. Yep, it can stay right there. Female Pyroar. That's fine. I like the difference. I like that it mimics real life lions without being, while still being like kind of a fantastical fantasy thing. Male Meowstic gets Prankster, which is one of my favorite abilities, so I'll probably rank it a bit higher. I think above Dialga and Palkia. This barely even, I don't know why this counts as another form. It's like Aegislash is cool, so that's gonna bring it up here, but yeah, it's pretty inconsequential. 10% Zygarde I think is really cool. This and regular, or 100% Zygarde are gonna be pretty high. Just because the whole gimmick of Zygarde is really cool, and these two are a big part of that. I think above Meloetta. I like the design. I like that it's like, I like that all three designs are like completely different designs. If that makes any sense. I just feel like I'm just being redundant here. Like, you go from a dog to a snake to a giant Power Rangers villain. I think that's really cool, and I hope we see more forms in Legends ZA that are even more wacky. But yeah, 100% Zygarde's probably right there. really, really cool. And then Hoopa Unbound. I mean, the design is cool, but I still think I prefer the little, like, a mischievous, regular form, the whatever it's called. I don't remember what the form's name is. But yeah, it's cool, but also the typing sucks because it's Psychic Dark. Okay, I guess I should elaborate on Ash Greninja some more. This is exactly what I'm talking about. I was talking about earlier, where they gave Greninja special treatment and then left Chesnaught and Delphox on the side of the curb with nothing. I hate when they do that. It is an industry plant Pokemon, and this was their attempt. Not attempt. This was their success at making it an industry plant Pokemon. And I hate that. I hate it when they like artificially make a Pokemon more popular by giving it special preferential treatment. And that's exactly what Ash Greninja embodies as a whole. So it's right at the bottom there. And then Megas. Mega, again, like Gen 5, there's only one, for some reason, even though the game introduced Megas, only one Gen 6 Pokemon got one. And it was Diancie. The design, I feel like there's a little too much going on here. I mean, I don't hate it, but it's not great. I'll probably put it between these two. And I have no idea how it is competitively, because, again, never owned one. So, yeah. But that'll do it for Gen 6. Overall, it's okay. It's okay. It's nothing like too terrible, but yeah, nothing great either. But yeah, that'll do it. Next time I'll be moving on to Gen 7, one of my personal favorites. That'll be fun. Yeah. And that'll do it. So I will see you in the next video.